Walkers, it's Mike from Living Walks, and we're here in Malta. We're here at Malta's best kept secret, Vittoriosa, or Birgu as it's known. Stay with us all the way to the end. You're going to learn about the Knights Hospitaller, the Order of Knights of St John. You're going to see some amazing architecture. You're going to bask in the sunlight. You're going to learn lots of interesting stories. We're going to cover the Inquisition, and I'm going to even take a breath now and again. Stay with us all the way to the end. This is going to be really good. I think you're going to like this one. Well, hello walkers, we're starting our walk today here in Malta on something very ordinary. It's this bridge, and it's called the Normal Bridge. I think that's a little bit harsh. So for myself, I think it's quite unusual, and the reason is because it is the confluence between the three cities. So here we are, we're south of Valletta, which is over that way. You can't see it at the moment. So we have just over where I'm pointing over on the right, Vittoriosa, which is where we're heading. We have Senglea over on the left, and we have the third one, Cospicua, just behind us. So today's walk will take us into Vittoriosa, and although the three areas are quite interesting, I think for one walk, I think it's got plenty to talk about. So let's head in this direction. What you see in front of us, well, you see that big statue, or that sculpture. We'll talk about that in a moment. Behind that, you see the church domes and towers. That's the Church of Immaculate Conception. Reason why that's quite important, and it's partly celebrated by, there's a war memorial just in front of it. You can see where the stairs are down there. Well, we're not heading that way today. It's important because it survived intact through World War II. Now, if you remember anything about Malta and its strategic value, location here in World War II, you know, it was for a period of 2 years, it was under siege, and it was effectively being carpet bombed day and night. So many buildings got destroyed here. In Valletta, there was 30,000 buildings got damaged or destroyed. Now this weird sculpture here in front of us, made of weathered steel. It's a kinetic sculpture, so bits of it are moving. I think you can see that, can't you? Yes, you can. Matthew Randolfino was the artist. And it's called a wind ship, or a wind boat, and incorporates, well, elements of a boat and a zeppelin. It's made out of weathered steel, and it's going to be allowed to erode and corrode over time, subject to the natural forces which are all around us here. I like these, by the way. Some are a little bit too high to sit on, but lovely chunks of stone, of ironwork, and I guess of what might have been ship's timbers, or they might just be sleepers. Anyway, I did say we're heading up this direction today. We're going to walk around and discover Vittoriosa. Now, what's special about it? Well, it's one of the oldest cities on Malta. Predates Valletta. Let's give you a little look over here. Look at Senglea. So Vittoriosa was the first home here of the Knights of St John. Okay, if you've seen our Valletta video, you heard me talking about them. We'll talk about them a little bit later. So much history around here is touched by them. Yeah, but they made their home here in 1530, so that's, let's see, what's that, 36 years before the founding of Valletta. I'm just looking across to Senglea. Let's say that's the American University of Malta there, private institution. And on the steps back there, by the way, I can just recommend that. Nice place for a cup of coffee, a little stop. It's called the Date Cafe, that's where we are. That's where we were just 20 minutes ago. So these islands, so Malta and Gozo, they were gifted to the Order of St John, the Knights Hospitallers, and they were gifted by Charles V of Spain. Charles V of Spain was King of Spain. He was also the Holy Emperor of Rome, and he had a few other titles too. Came into a lot of land. Anyway, he was gifted to the Knights of St John on a lease, and in return the Knights of St John just had to provide a tribute every year. And the tribute was, well, wait for it, a Maltese Falcon. Now, if you've read the book, if you've seen either of the films, you might imagine the Maltese Falcon to be a little statuette of gold and jewels. That's not the case. It was a falcon, a live falcon. So it was a token, really. This part of the city then, Vittoriosa, its original name is actually Birgu. Hope I pronounced that right. And in fact it changed, it was renamed in, well, I guess 1565 was it? To commemorate its role really in fighting off the Ottomans, the Ottoman siege. It's still known locally as Birgu. In fact, all the buses, if you take a bus here, which I recommend, I can see Valletta in the background, the bus will go to Birgu, not Vittoriosa. So we're going to head up this way. I'm going to show you the next thing on our list. So there's a fort, by the way, at the end of this little promontory. Well, you can see it there, in fact, Fort St Angelo. Now, it's due to Fort St Angelo, and also one on the other side, in Senglea, Fort St Michael, is the reason, actually, that Senglea pretty much came out unscathed from the attack from the Ottomans. However, not so fortunate was it in World War II, because about 75% of the buildings over there on Senglea got damaged or destroyed. So there's been a lot of building work. you go hunting for the Fort of St Michael, you won't find much. It got removed and built on 1921, I think it was. They wanted to make a school there, and I believe they did. Let's head up this way. So what we've got in front of us is the Malta at War Museum. All right, you can see the little sign over there. Malta at War Museum. Used to be a barracks. That's right. If you want to go here, it's open, what is it, 10 till 4:30 every day except Sundays. And there you'll find artifacts and exhibits from, well, Malta's own Blitz, really their own struggles in World War II. I'm going to take us down this way. We're going to go through some little back streets. Well, you might have noticed, by the way, that little sign there said Merba. So, which of course, hopefully you know, is Arabic for hello. Again, if you've seen our walk on Valletta, you'll know that the Maltese language really, we can say, is a heavy dialect of Arabic. Let me just show you this, by the way. This is what I did want to see. It's a dialect of Arabic. It's heavily infused with Sicilian and Italian. In fact, Sicilian and Italian words, they make up 52% of the language. So sometimes you'll be thinking, oh, hang on, are those people speaking Italian? And other times you'll think, hang on, no, they're speaking Arabic. But you're kind of right in both cases. The interesting thing, though, you don't see Arabic writing around or Arabic script. That's right, no, it's all in Roman. So basically, our alphabet. If you want to go into the Malta at War Museum, it's going to be €14 each. That's for adults. Now, if you're a teeny tiny little human, if you're an unformed, pre-developed adult, you're an enfant, or kinder, or niño. If you're a little squidgeling, if you're under 16, if you're a minuscule human, that's going to be half that price. So I said we're going to explore some of these magical back streets. And in some ways, so we were in Mdina, Silent City, a few days ago. In some ways, this really has the same feel. And it's just across the water from Valletta. So normally you can get the ferry across. They weren't running today, so we took a bus. Plenty of buses come this way. And as if on cue, the sun has come out for us today. Fantastic. Give you a little peek down some side streets. So I definitely get the feeling a lot of people who come to Malta don't come to the Three Cities. And I get that feeling because this is probably the 5th time we've been here. And this is the first time I remember anyway that we've been here. down this way. I'll give you a little view. One of the gates. Gates of Provence. One of the entrances into the walled city. So you've got some tourists down there having chats. You know there's something interesting to look at. On the right hand side, you can see that red flag, or the red banner, red and white banner hanging down. Because that is the Inquisitor's palace. Oh, look at that. I know it piqued your interest, didn't it? The Inquisition. Going to hear tales of torture and death. Well, a little bit. Shall we look at some tourists and their natural habitat? There you go. So I haven't seen a tourist before.
You did not obey, you were killed.
So, here we are. Inquisitor's Palace. So this is €6 to get in. It's a little bit less. I can't remember how much if you're a child. I think it depends on your age. Now, if you are hoping something like the London Dungeon, you know, recreated scenes of death and torture, you're not really going to see that, though it is interesting. It is interesting. So the palace operated for 200 years. There you go, Inquisitor's Palace. You thought I was lying, didn't you? I don't lie. Well, not very often on these walks anyway. It's open, by the way, 9 till 5, except Mondays when it's closed. And so it operated there until basically Napoleon invaded. Oh, I really like that street. Oh, lovely, yeah. Anyway, that was 1798, wasn't it? You know that, of course you do. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, so he basically put a stop to the Inquisition. Incidentally, by the way, there are a couple of Inquisitor's palaces in the world that are still around. But that one there, sorry, here, that's the only one you can actually visit. Okay, so worth having a look round, because basically it's the only one you're ever going to get. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Inquisition in a moment. I just want you to soak up the vibe of this lovely square here. Nice square, isn't it? This, I believe, is San Lorenzo, or St Lawrence. Yep, patron saint Vittoriosa. That be him. I'm going to take you for a walk up this way because I've got a few other things to show you. Anyway. We were talking about the Inquisition, weren't we? Okay, so you've all heard of the Spanish Inquisition. Well, that wasn't the only one. The Inquisition was being held all over the place. And so what's interesting about the Inquisition? So first of all, they didn't really have any jurisdiction over Muslims and Jews, per se, so they weren't going around just, you know, judging people who weren't Catholic. So really they were confined to Catholics and maybe the the newly converted. And they're really more concerned about anything else, about just heretical behaviour of their own Catholic people. Now, in spite of everything you read about, yes, there were deaths by burning, there was torture, etc. But to be honest, probably 90% of sentences probably ended up with either you basically had a little cross sewn on your clothing, or basically you were sent off on some pilgrimage somewhere. Of course, there was burning and maiming and all sorts of things too, or maybe just be banished. But those sentences were normally passed down then via a secular court. The Inquisition would find out what you were guilty of, whether you were guilty or not perhaps, and yes, you'd be parceled off to be tried under a secular court, and it was always pretty much guaranteed what your sentence would be depending on what you had supposedly done. Now, down here, let's have a look. Lovely little street, isn't it? Aha, and I've just seen what I'm looking for. Okay, so there. The Auberge d'Angleterre. Okay, this is the Auberge of the English Knights at the time of the Great Siege in 1565. So, first of all, what is an auberge? An auberge is an inn or hostel. Okay, and when you think of it at the time, the Knights Hospitaller were made up of knights from all different lands. Because people like to, well, birds of a feather flock together, don't they? So the English knights would stay together and room together, and so would lots of other nationalities. So we come down this way, we should pass a few more. So this is just an excuse for me to show you some lovely streets. So the weather's not been brilliant here the last couple of days. First day here was absolutely scorching. Last 2 days has been a little mixed. So now that it's sunny, I'm out here as much as I can. This is the Auberge of France. Which, if you're like me, you've probably worked out that these buildings then are, well, not quite 500 years old, but getting on for it. Have you ever wondered what the purpose of the Inquisition actually was? Was it just to be a bit horrible and judge people, be harsh on them, maybe correct their sins? Well, it wasn't so much. Oh, looks like they're doing a bit of a film shoot down here. Got the Auberge de Castel de, well, it's Portugal.
So are we doing marketplace now? Sure. No.
So, it wasn't so much, therefore, about the penitence, the person who supposedly done wrong. So in the 1578 edition of the Directorium Inquisitorium, try saying that, which I just picked up at the local store. It's a big fat tome, makes interesting reading. It says basically that the real purpose is for the public good. It's for the public, basically to instill terror, to basically sway them away from doing evil acts, having evil thoughts, the way, I've done well. I know, you're feeling like you want to congratulate me. I've done well not to get run over at any stage, and that's because I've got a big sign on the back saying beware children on board. So naturally that means that cars that were thinking of ramming me in the back are now no longer not going to. Amazing how that works. So I'm coming this way because I want to give you a little view over the top. Oh, actually, no, let's go up this way. Get an even better view.
I think you got any of my face in the last one, did you?
Over there, we've got Valletta, way off in the distance. Hello Valletta, if you saw our video, we were over there, looking back this way, in the upper Braca Gardens. Just over to the right there, you've got another area. So this is Kalkara. And the big ball over there, I think that's all part of the Explorer Interactive Science Centre. It's quite magical, doesn't it? So we're going to head back to the street of the Auberge, and we're going to continue on the other side. So stay with us. So just retracing our steps a few yards, or if you're European, meters. If you're wondering how to use the buses, etc. here, by the way, have a look at the Valletta video. I'll explain a bit more about buses. Really easy to use. And very cheap, really cheap in fact. I have said when you're, if you decide to hire a car or anything here, just be warned. So traffic is a problem on the island, and that's a shame. So wherever you are, you're probably going to be caught in a traffic jam of some sort. But if you expect that, if you know that's just how it goes, you'll be all right. Just breathe. Just relax, allow your mind to settle. Like the blue shutters. And I didn't point out, I don't know if you noticed, when we started the normal bridge, there's a HSB bank just behind the sculpture of the airship, or the wind boat, I should call it. And above there, really unusual, really old building, but it had stunning bright blue glass windows. So this is St Lawrence's Catholic Church. I'm going to go up here and disturb this group.
Dat is de hoofdkerk van de Johanniters. Voordat ze naar de Malta gaan. Is die eerlijk?
Oh, nice view. So why is this important? Well, this is the first church, really, used by the Knights of St John, used between 1530 and 1571.
Dus je merkt dat hier het centrum van de katholieke macht. Denk aan de Johanniters waar we mee begonnen zijn. De eerste dag van Valletta.
After that, the order moved to Valletta. And so this was basically repurposed. It's been rebuilt. So 1681 it got rebuilt to its current state. Oh look, back at the seafront. We're going to enter the Grand Harbour Marina in a moment, but I just want to give you a little spin around. Look at that water. Look at those people about to fall in. Little do they know what's about to happen. That's the front of the church. Give it a wave. City sightseeing bus. Every city's got one. Not been on it, you can try it. What I found, really, I can get everywhere just on the local buses. They've been great. And again, that sign on my back, children aboard, is working wonders. Vans and cars have come so close and yet nothing's happened. I think I'm going to wear one of those all the time. In fact, I wonder what it would be like if I could put one in the van, in a car. That would be a novel idea. So, the Order of St John. So, tisk tisk, if you haven't watched our Valletta video, you're very naughty. I'm going to let you off. You can go and do that in a moment. I'll give you a little précis here. So, back out in the Holy Land, Jerusalem, we had the Crusades. And at one point, well, actually many different points, Jerusalem was in the hands of the Catholics. Now, because it was, naturally, everyone wanted to go on pilgrimage. Well, you would, wouldn't you, really? You want to go and see where Christ was born. So I'm just soaking up the atmosphere. It's that come through. Yeah, so you had pilgrims going out there. Of course, it's a bit of an arduous journey, and you know, people get sick, especially in those days. And so they had a hospital, and it was dedicated to John the Baptist. That's that one who had his head cut off. But also the one who baptized Jesus. That's where he gets his name, the Baptist, not John. Anyway, the hospitals came under attack multiple times. Wasn't particularly safe. The pilgrims wandering around. It's a constant, almost state of war, it seems, if you read up on the Crusades at the time. So the Catholic Church formed a militia, knights to go up there and to protect the pilgrims and to protect the hospitals. And that was the Order of St John, the Knights Hospitaller. Now they continue to this day in somewhat diluted forms now. And as I mentioned before, if you're in the UK, you know of St John's Ambulance. That's a far descendant. The Knights Hospitaller and the Knights Templar. I guess they were there to protect the temples. They rose to great power. Of course, if people put people out there, put knights are very good at fighting and defending, capturing things. They grew to power, prestige, they were given lands, etc. And literally the rest is history. So you've got some old buildings at the front here, and you've got those new ones going up at the back. It's kind of nice that they are mimicking the old style. I do find a lot of the stonework here is really under constant erosion. I'm guessing it's sandstone. I'm sure someone out there can tell me otherwise, but I would say that's why it's getting eroded so quickly. And why you get so much building work. That's one thing you will notice if you come here. There's always quite a bit of building work, restoration. So, you see a lot of boats, don't you? And they're all registered in Malta or Valletta. There'll be a reason for that. And I'm sure the reason is something to do with tax. It's not just the quality of the harbours. You know what? We completely missed the Malta Maritime Museum, but that's all right because it's shut at the minute. It's right back there, just where we turned. You know, at the church? It was there. Now I'm just going to take down here. So Torone or Torone. It's in the Michelin guide. It's a restaurant. And if I remember rightly, pretty nice view. Look at that, see? Get your own little, well, dock area. You sit out there, basking away. Look at that landing area here. Pretty beautiful. Shame we can't get through there. We're going to head back over the bridge. That big stone thing there, by the way, is the fort. Fort St Angelo. We're not going to go in it today. There's plenty of YouTube videos taking you around inside. Let's head on up over the little bridge. Pretty lovely, isn't it? Oh, a bit blowy. Little view back over at Senglea. Way ahead of us, you can see there is Valletta rising majestically. And up on the top, you can see the Upper Braca Gardens, the arches. You can see the Braca Gardens lift just to the left. And so this is the entrance to the fort. I'm going to take you up here. We're going to leave you at the entrance. Obviously you'll have to navigate your own way home. I like to think you're all grown up now. It's a welcoming party. Just a few minutes early. In case anyone gets confused, the big blue door, that's what we go through. But for now, signing off. Stunning view over Senglea. Back to Cospicua. So, take care. Got loads more coming, so keep an eye out for some great films. Hope to see you soon. Take care.